We are here.
We are here.
We are here.
Season 5, man.
Yeah.
Season 5.
Yeah, season 1's been a rough one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hey, welcome, YouTube. You guys are awesome.
You are. Hey, YouTube.
Yeah.
Specific for you, because this has been in the comments. This has been on this stuff. Yes, we are having a little bit of a rough time with season 5.
Yeah.
No, we are not going to stop watching. We are here
point.
for the long haul. There's light at the end of this tunnel.
Right. Yeah. Jeff, you ever just have one of those days where you just sort of feel like you're not too high, you're not too low, you're just sort of right in the middle,
just existing?
No, just like everything's just okay, everything's just kind of cool. Like it doesn't, like, not everything's cool, it just is what it is, man.
It just is.
You know, I haven't smoked or drank anything. I don't do that anyway. And it's just like, that's if I'm not as energetic, I think is what I'm saying. Like if I'm not amped up, like you're
right in that Lebowski zone.
Yeah.
It's just
it's just whatever, man. Okay.
It's a good place to be, honestly.
I'm not arguing about anything. I don't care that much, but
we'll see. Because I tell you what, Brent.
Yes.
I got thoughts on this one.
I got thoughts on this one too. I'm going to make 2 predictions, Jeff.
Okay.
About our episode tonight, and then we're going to jump into it. First prediction, over under, I'm setting it 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Hour and 5?
Hour and 5, and I'm going to go under.
Really? I would have taken the under on that one, but
yes,
I'll stretch it to the over. I know somebody who almost did that a week ago.
No, I didn't even come close.
You tried.
We had so much extra time.
Dude, so I don't think a lot of people here listen to the audio one, but we got, like, that audio was like 37 minutes.
How long was the YouTube video?
53, I think.
53, and you got it down to 37. Yeah. I mean, when you chop off the beginning and the end and then smush it in the middle.
Well, we talked about booze for 2 minutes and almost 1.5 minutes about Night of the Roxbury. So
it's time well spent, my friend.
It was. That's valuable time.
That's my first prediction. My second prediction is this. I think this is going to be the second or third episode in this entire series. My feeling is you and I are probably on 2 different places with this episode.
I think we might be.
I don't know. We haven't talked about it. I haven't seen your notes. You haven't seen mine. So, Jeff, why don't we go ahead and jump into this? You guys out there, what you are about to watch is Jeff and I recording an audio podcast. This is the behind the scenes of how we make that happen. And you guys just like joining us, which is kind of weird, but cool. I love it. I love that you guys are here. Hey, listen, as you guys comment down below, please comment down below. Jeff and I do try to get through those. No spoilers. Jeff and I haven't seen anything past this point. Like the way this one ended, we don't know what's actually up, and we'll talk about that as this goes. Also, while you're here, please like, subscribe, share this video if you guys like what we're doing here at Babylon 5 for the first time, and all the for the first time stuff we got going on these days, right. Jeff, which is super cool. So with that, Jeff, why don't we get into it? Episode 5, Learning Curve.
At least I should have buffed him just once.
Humans form communities.
And from that diversity comes a strength.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy!
The year is 2024.
The name of the podcast, Babylon 5.
For the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I am the one who was.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I am the one who will be.
And we're watching Babylon 5 for the first time for you, the one who is.
Jeff and I are 2 veteran Star Trek podcasters that have started watching Babylon 5, well, for the first time. And over here, we have taken those skills we've acquired as Star Trek podcasters, and we're applying that to Babylon 5 by searching for the important messages that B5 is delivering in its own unique way.
Now, we're looking for Babylon 5 messages, not Star Trek messages. Since this is not a podcast about Star Trek, we play the rule of 3. That limits us total to 3 references to Star Trek throughout the entire episode.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And Jeff, if we happen to make one of those references,
You're going to hear this.
yeah, because while this is definitely not a Star Trek podcast, those references are bound to slip in from time to time. That being said, along with our rule of 3 game that we like to play, there's another game we like to play at the end of the show where we try to guess what's going to happen next week based on title alone. Jeff, there's actually another game within this game.
Oh, yeah?
Well, here's the thing. I have no idea what you're about to say. Like, I never know what you're about to say. Like, I'm hearing what you're going to read here in just a moment for the first time. I don't know if you're talking about reviews, if you're talking about comments, if you're talking about emails. And so this is the game where Brent internally tries to guess and go, wait, what does Jeff actually have something for this week? Like, is there anything this week? I don't know. We're about to find out. But wait a second. Wait. Oh, shoot. I'm a whole segment ahead of where we're
Right?
at. Holy nickel fritz.
It's fine. We have a notepad here. YouTube, this is the stuff you get.
Right?
This is the beauty. This is the mess. There are blood on the walls editing this one.
You'd think we're still new at this. We haven't done this
Right.
93 times before right now.
We'll figure it out eventually at some
Okay,
point.
let me start that whole spiel over again. I'm just going to read the script and stop trying to insert stuff. Right, because while this is most definitely not a Star Trek podcast, those references are bound to slip in from time to time. Now, along with our game, the rule of 3, there's another game we like to play at the end of the show where we try to guess what next week's episode is going to be about based on title alone. Well, this is the spot where we play
Time to pay the piper.
That's right. It is time for everyone's game. Time to pay the piper. This is where we revisit last week's prediction and see if we got it right. So, Jeff, what did you say Learning Curve was going to be about?
I thought it was going to be a Lockley episode and that it would result in a clash between her and Sheridan.
Ooh. This was not a Lockley episode, although Jeff, and I'm going to give you full credit on this one, it was a Lockley B plot. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff was really very Lockley. And just how she crossed over with the people in our A plot. So I'm actually going to give you credit for that part. She didn't really clash with Sheridan, though. And I'm not going to give you credit for that one. So I'm going to give you a 50% credit on that one.
That's a lot higher than I thought. Yeah, she almost did the opposite of clashing with Sheridan. They almost came together in a weird way that we're going to learn more about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about them coming together in a weird way.
Probably in another episode in more detail. What did you think this was going to be about?
Well, like you, I said that this one was going to focus on Lockley, but I thought it was going to be she's more trying to get a handle on running Babylon 5, but failing. It's one of the toughest things she's ever done. Or I think maybe it was like Sheridan trying to learn how to be president, still continuing that whole thing. That was my guess.
I feel like Lockley's doing a pretty good job running the station. She's got that down pretty well, especially because Sheridan and Delenn keep taking all of her choices from her. Excuse me. But so I'm going to follow your suit. Lockley was in this. She was a big part of the B plot, possibly one of the most interesting parts of the episode. I'll give you half credit on that one as well.
All right. Well, Jeff, I'm sorry. Did we completely take out the comments and reviews and stuff?
Yeah, like 6-7 months ago.
What?
Yeah, because it was taking so long, and people, we got like feedback about people loved hearing it when it was theirs, but not when it was someone else. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
We have not been doing reviews and stuff like that for however long.
A long time.
Oh my! What?
Yeah, it was like the middle-ish to end-ish of season 4. So maybe not 6-7 months, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Because I'm now realizing I haven't done this one in a while. If you'll play the Jakar thing real quick.
Right?
I haven't done I haven't done that in a long time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was actually looking at the button a while ago being like, maybe we should dust that just for the purpose of hitting that sound drop.
Right? I mean, I guess we probably would it have been we stopped kind of towards the end of last season when we were prepping for the season wrap up.
Well, I think it was middle-ish of season 4. It was in that time frame. We were getting some feedback, and we agreed our episodes were long, and that took a good chunk of time to hit that. And so we've been putting the reviews and stuff out on our social media to share out there.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Oh my word! YouTube. I'm so sorry. I've completely derailed this.
You are deep in the Lebowski zone.
Oh my gosh! Now that you say that, I remember having that conversation.
That's good. I would hope.
Yeah.
I would hope that you remember us not having done it for a really long time, but here we are. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh my God. I told you, I have not had anything to smoke or drink, Jeff. It's just one of those.
Maybe you should. Maybe let's just help. Completely let's take this a whole other direction.
You know what I don't like? I don't like podcasts where you just sit listening to people getting drunk.
Yeah.
Like they start sober and by the end of the podcast, they're clearly drunk. Like I don't enjoy, lots of people out there enjoy it. Those are very popular. There's a lot of them out there. More power to them. I
enjoy it when the Greatest Generation, that's a podcast, Star Trek podcast I like, by two guys who are a little bit embarrassed having a Star Trek podcast. They do those episodes sometimes, but they're part of a game that they do. And so it's occasional, it's a thing. But when it's like, that's the shtick of the podcast, I'm with you. It's just like, oh my gosh, I don't need this.
Okay. Where are we, Jeff?
You're about to say, for all those people who haven't seen that. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about the edit on this audio version. You know what the good news is? You don't have to do any video editing.
Exactly.
Right? This
is entertaining for our YouTubers. For the audio, it's literally this. I'm going to go delete.
Or people just fast forwarded through, like, get back to the show. Sorry.
Maybe I'll leave all this in for the audio this time. Just be like, this is what you're missing.
And clip it at the end. Like, just do a boop boop.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to center. All right, well, Jeff, for those out there for whom it may have been a while or simply they haven't watched the show ever, but they're still listening to us anyway, in which case, welcome to you folks out there. Jeff, why don't you tell us what Learning Curve was actually about?
Do you remember my guy Nagrath? Well, apparently he died. And we never got any of that story, but a holdover from season 1 central casting is here to fill in that power vacuum. Trace, no, not of the Buffalo variety, just Trace, is trying to establish his gang and himself as the overlord of Down Below. It's really smooth how he's doing it too, blasting people with a single shot from a PPG and then dragging their body into the open. Yeah, that'll show him, Trace, yeah. Least you could do is plop a Knockaleen feeder into a Kosh suit and really do some damage. But not to worry, Zach Allen is on the case. Of course, it'd be a lot easier for him to stay on the case if Garibaldi would get off his back. Garibaldi's had it with Lockley, and he wants the full story. He wants an answer to the 10 million credit question. Fasten and zip? Or zip and fasten? Also, was she Team Clark or Team Sheridan during the war? She answers just a little less cryptically than she did last time, saying that she wasn't on Sheridan's side, but she was on the side that says the military doesn't get to set policy. What she doesn't say is that she was on Clark's side. Now Garibaldi wants Zach to pull her security file, the way he did when Sheridan came on board. Well, Zach refuses, but that doesn't stop the head of covert intelligence from trying to get past Zach's Control-Alt-Delete screen. So what to do about Trace? This dude is out of control. A couple of instructors from Anla'shok University are in town to update Delenn on their activities. It's weird to update the president's wife on something like this. I mean, what would she... Oh, wait, no. Oh, sorry. That's right. I forgot. She's in Tilza, right? She's in charge of the Rangers. It's a good thing she slapped that Ranger pin on for that one meeting, or I might have totally forgotten. Well, the instructors, Terval of the religious caste and Durin of the warrior caste, bring along 2 students. While the grown-ups meet to complain about the new Pakmara recruits, the 2 students, Rastin and Tenir, go exploring, and who do you think they run into? Well, if you guessed Deuce, you'd get partial credit, but Trace is the correct answer. Tenir runs in to save a girl from him while Rastin cowers away. On his own, Tenir gets rocked, beaten within an inch of his life. Dr. Franklin makes the save, but just barely. With information from him on Trace and his gang, Lockley and Zach are ready to take them down. That is until Antilza Delenn shows up in her office. Apparently, this is a ranger matter now, and not a station matter. And not just any ranger matter, it's a Mora'dum matter. Terror. Terval and Rastin off. Terval sends Rastin off with the terror of facing his own cowardice, while Tenir has to face down Trace. No matter how hurt he is, once he can stand, he must use terror to eventually beat up Trace. He must stand alone and regain his power. So accompanied by like 4 other Minbari, Tenir stands alone and beats up Trace while Durin lectures everyone on bullies. Tenir gets his power back and Delenn is so impressed. Delenn gets his power back and Delenn is so impressed, she requests him to join the House Guard when his train...
No.
No?
No, you stumbled over that again when you tried to
Did
reset
I?
it. You said Delenn gets his power back.
Oh, gosh. You're Lebowski, and I'm everywhere else.
Yeah, that's just your opinion, man.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Tenir gets his power back, and Delenn is so impressed, she requests him to join the House Guard when his training is complete. Terval mentions that Lennier is training too hard, and he's worried about him. Delenn heads back to Sheridan, and she asks him about a thing Lockley mentioned to her. Sheridan gives the best, oops, looks like I got caught face. But we're left wondering what it is Lockley knows that now Delenn knows that Sheridan wishes he would have told her already. Brent, lay it on me. How was this one for you?
So, Jeff, the last 2 episodes have been very meh for me. Like, they're really good season 1 episodes. I'm not going to call them bad episodes. They were fine. Nothing great. Nothing about them that made me want to watch them again. With this episode, for me, I feel like we're back, Jeff. I loved everything about this episode except for the really bad villain and his even worse accent. Right? Like that accent was so bad, it probably is actually his real speaking voice. Like, that's how bad that accent was, you know?
No way he could make that up.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we're talking Ben Zane, like he's somewhere between Ben Zane and Kimmer. Like, it's or you remember the one-eyed dude, like right after Sheridan, he tried to kill Sheridan. The one-eyed dude with his dude singing "Neck Bones Connected" to like that dude. Yep. Like, he's in that. The Strikebreaker upper dude. Like, he's in. That for me, right? But that being said, I loved the pacing of this episode. I got to minute 33 and I'm like, how much is left in this episode? Because it felt like a full episode. This was not this episode is dragging. Oh my God. Oh, we got that much left. It's like, dude, they have put so much in this episode. I loved the pacing. I loved the plot turns with it. The whole thing with the Rangers and the Minbari. There was one part of that I didn't like. We'll discuss that later. But I loved that story. How does it fit into this whole thing right now? I have no idea. Again, season 1. This is a world building episode. Like, it's just what it feels like. But I loved it. I thought the writing was really good of this episode. So kudos to JMS. I love how they resolved the story with Tenir. And I even loved how they ended it with John and Delenn facing away from each other and John like turning his light off by waving his hand in front of the thing. I felt that this was a really solid episode. Is it a best one? Like if we get to the end of the season, is this going to be a top 5? Probably not. But I think this one I feel like could easily be in the top half of a season, maybe like the middle bottom half of the season, or of the middle bottom part of the top half of the season. I feel like it could be, unless we have episodes to come that are just going to blow my mind, which could happen. But for the most part, that's what I think. Jeff, how about you?
I really liked the characters of Terval and Durin. Like I liked the characters quite a bit.
Yeah.
But ultimately to me, this one felt like they took Grail and Legacies, smushed in the Ranger stuff, and then we got this. Like, I think I just have a really hard time with the fact that we're at season 5, episode 5, and we're down to seedy criminal elements and down below. When exactly a season ago, season 4, episode 5, we watched Emperor Cartagia get killed and the League move to Coriana 6 for its stand against the Vorlons and Shadows. Like, wow, we have been to such heights, and now we're watching this. Like, we got a crime boss and some Anla'shok lore. We're almost a quarter of the way through this season at this point, you know, and like we've had one absolutely incredible episode. Like you said, ones that are okay. I have not disliked an episode yet. I don't dislike this episode. What I dislike is the culmination of episodes that have come to this point for me. We bagged on season 2, early season 2 pretty hard, right? I mean, your fabled heel turn that even makes the big show's multiple face and heel turns pale in comparison to what you did. But this point of season 5 for me is so much worse than where we were at season 2 at this point. I'm getting very disappointed in this. That's where I'm at. I think this we'll talk about some of this stuff. I think there were definitely some very cool things in this one. I loved the Lockley stuff.
Yeah.
I loved the end with Sheridan and Delenn. That's what I'm most interested in. What happened? What didn't he tell her? Yeah. But to be in the 5th season of Babylon 5, and that's my big question. What didn't Sheridan tell Delenn? Really?
I'll be real honest. I don't need a lot of the inner workings of John and Delenn in conversation, in marital conversations. Like I just don't need it. I really don't. It's fine. I'm not gonna bag on it, but that's not what I'm looking for out of Babylon 5. Not at this point. You know, you told us what was going to happen with the story. We have not gotten there yet.
Yeah. Tell the story.
Now, I liked this episode. I 1000% feel you on your feelings of season 5 as a whole so far. The telepath war, the Friends of the Shadows, which they mentioned and we've not done a thing with. We had the Drock sort of pop up, and we had like a little thing there, and then we had the eyeball dudes, and that's all we've got. Londo's supposed to go be Emperor, and man, are they dragging their feet on that whole thing right there. You know, it feels like they've just sort of reset and rebooted the series, which is kind of what it is. So here's what I want to ask for the listeners out there. And guys, I'm going to remind you, please do this spoiler free. And all I want to know nothing having to do with the story itself. I want to know about the production. What is there a thing from JMS where he talks about these early episodes of season 5 that they had to sort of reboot the show a little bit, and that's what's going on? Like there's an intentional part here where they were wrapping down the show, and now they've got to kick it back into gear. And remember, like when we got Sheridan when he first came on, and I know that I've heard that JMS was like, yeah, we had to like delay what we were going to do for season 2 by a handful of episodes because we had to onboard a new captain.
Mm-hmm.
And well, they're not onboarding a new captain. They're onboarding a new captain. They're onboarding a new president. They're onboarding another new president out in Earth. You're onboarding all these sorts of things for this season. You gotta kick it off and get it moving. So I kind of feel it. But to encase it in this particular episode, let this episode stand on its own merits. That's what we're here today to do and to analyze.
And it's hard because, like, to start diving into stuff, you know, if you've seen my notes before, and you can see my notes on our Patreon, I categorize them based on the plots, and so Trace was one of my categories here. I have one note under Trace. This is dumb. That's it. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't. I'm almost personally offended. Here I am high and mighty, but I'm just like, you're going to waste my time in the 5th season of this show with this storyline that frankly they did better in Grail?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is one of those, I feel like they tried to give this character more time than he really needed on screen. Like, just do what Marvel does. Bring a bad guy in, let him exist to serve the rest of the plot. That's all he needed. Like, that's all we needed to do with him in this episode.
Do you remember last season when Ivanova pulled all the criminals and the smugglers in and stuff to set up kind of that black market exchange?
Yeah.
It should have been one of them. If it was one of them and there was a tie to all of that, like, hey, you got your own thing now. I'm going to take advantage of everything you gave me. You could have done almost everything else the same, but now there's some substance to it.
Yeah.
That would have been cool and not hard to have done.
Jeff, I need you to get in that time machine and go back and tell JMS that from way back when.
Hold on.
It didn't work.
Okay.
It didn't work. It's still the same. It's still the same.
He literally flipped me off. He told me to get out of his office. He's sick of hearing from us.
That sounds like what I know about JMS. I too had one note under the bad guy description, although my notes are just stream of thought. Yours are organized. It's this. He didn't get a name, right?
Trace.
Trace. Okay.
That's literally his name.
That's what you've been saying is Trace. Yep. Because here's my note. Bad guy is one of the least threatening bad guys I've seen in all of Babylon 5. When he's out there and he's like, "Hey, kill him." And the dude pulls out a PPG and shoots him in the very beginning. It was the weakest, most non-threatening way to kill somebody. Like, it was awful directing. It was awful acting. The script was fine. But he opens up his thing, pulls this PPG out of his jacket like it has no weight to it. Like it's just a piece of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Handles it like it is a toy. And he just sort of points it at him and like shakes it. Like he doesn't act, and you could see they'll add the effect later. That's how he treated it. It was just a think. There was no like, I'm going to pull it and I'm going to aim and point and pull a trigger and it's going to do a thing. This was just my 3-year-old. This is how my 3-year-old handles toy guns when they're playing in a play or something like that. Like it was just awful. But overall though, this guy, I was like, he's not going to do anything. We're going to show him whose place really I run Babylon 5. I'm like, no, you don't. Sit down. Sit down. Stop it.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, it's just like, what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about Zach?
Yeah.
Zach is good at his job.
He really is.
He's really good at his job. He knows what he's doing. He's standing in the gap for where he needs to stand. I loved watching Zach stand up to Garibaldi in this episode. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a very human version of watching the arc that Veer has gone on with how he stands up to Londo.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like it's different because Veer and Zach obviously are two very different people. But like, if you look at what Zach's done, like he really has grown and come through this arc where he is strengthened. He's standing on his own 2 feet. And, you know, he and Garibaldi still have a relationship, so he allows stuff to happen. But Zach's telling him, like, dude, you've got to back off. And Zach looks so good in that uniform.
He looks great.
He is the best looking cat on Babylon 5 right now.
Big time. I mentioned it before. I'll hit it again. It breaks my heart for Jeff Conaway and what he experiences after this time. Just like this was appears to be such a healthy time for him. But that scene at the very end where he's just straight up calling Garibaldi out, it's just like, yes, go, man. But I think even there are so many other moments when Lockley agreed to let the Rangers handle the trace situation. Zach's down there and he's like, all right, clear out. We're out of here. And they're like, but boss, like, we got him. There's stuff right. Yep. Captain said, let's go. We're going to go. He doesn't get into the stuff or whatever. He was just doing his job and not like blindly following orders. It wasn't that kind of a thing, but he's just doing what he's got to do. But I think the two crowning moments for him in this one were the calling Garibaldi out, basically calling him a Minbari at the very end. But at the beginning, near the beginning, when Garibaldi was going for the jugular on Lockley, and he's just sitting back and he's just like, hey, this tastes weird. Let's talk about this thing. Nope, everybody, let's bring it down.
Yeah.
Over here. Is that garlic that I'm tasting? Is that what that is? I thought that was great. That's him just trying to get in and be like, not the time, not the place.
And this is awkward.
Yeah. For everyone here. Everyone. There's no way, Garibaldi, you're walking out of this looking good.
Okay, so we have to talk about this now because you brought it up. This whole scene was a marquee scene from this episode.
Agreed.
Lockley and Garibaldi having it out in the room. By the way, over their shoulder, the lady who was like visible in every single shot, the little short-haired lady, looked just like Tracy Lou Coco. Do you know who that is?
Right? Yeah. And what's her name? Jay, right?
Lieutenant Junior Jay from Star Trek Next Generation, one of the just mainstay background characters who does everything on the ship.
She really did. I remember watching her and thinking, she must be related to somebody on the crew. They're really making sure she gets in all the shots.
Right. There's actually a mistake, Jeff. When you do your videos, you don't listen with headphones on, do you?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do? Did you hear the audio of them talking in the background?
I didn't pick up on it, no.
Yeah, so if you go back and watch that scene, and I actually had to go back and listen to it a few times. I took my headphone off just to listen because there's Lockley and Garibaldi having their conversation. These people are clearly having a conversation at another table. Now, I don't know what was said. It wasn't clear enough to make it out. But have you ever been listening to something with headphones and then somebody from the other room starts talking to you? You kind of hear them, but you're not really sure what they say. You're like, is somebody talking? That's what it felt like. I was going, is somebody in this room talking? And I was like, no, it's her talking. When you're an extra on a set, you're supposed to not actually say a word. You just pretend.
Yeah, because they have the dialogue, the conversation's looped in the background somewhere, and you're just supposed to sit there and.
Yeah, because they have to pay you more. It's the exact reason why when Garibaldi's talking to those telepaths in his office, they never actually said a word. They just stared at him the whole time and then got up and walked out. He asked them a direct question and they just stared and they told us not to say anything because you have to pay us more money.
Right.
Anyway, it was an interesting moment. All right, let's talk about this. So Garibaldi comes in. I thought this was a very important conversation. I had to go back and watch it a handful of times to really kind of get what she was saying because I thought it was so chock full. You said it in your recap. The biggest thing that I pulled from it was she did not say she was on President Clark's side. She was entirely clear to not say that.
Yeah.
She said, I was not on Sheridan's side. She said, I wasn't on your side. But I was on the side who follows orders. I was on the side who didn't want to rip up the Constitution. I was on the side of duty, loyalty, and honor.
Well, Garibaldi asked her straight up, did you make a stand? And she goes, do you mean, did I take up arms against my government? I did not. To me, what I loved is she basically said, I took care of the people I was working with.
That is what she said. Yeah. Yeah. She said, she's like, I was a commander and my first job was to take care of the folks under my command. That's what I was worried about. I want to talk about that in just a moment. But first, as we get to the end of it, Jeff, whose side do you think she actually was on? Was she on President Clark's side, or is there a third side out there that we haven't really considered yet?
I think there's a third side that we haven't thought about. And I think it's the side of people who just didn't get involved and just kept doing their jobs.
But they would have been involved because they would have been given orders to go do stuff.
Not necessarily. I think we're making the assumption that every military base was an offensive. Every ship was called out to fight. I could very much see her having commanded a research base or a logistics supply depot. And if Sheridan's ships came through for whatever, she took care of them. If Clark's ships came through, as long as they were Earth Force, she took care of them. Right? I could see it being something legit. I said, research, probably not that, because I don't think the Earth Force is doing a lot of research. Yeah. But I could see it being like a logistics depot or something like that, where she just made sure her people were safe, taken care of, and just kept following her orders.
I think she ultimately was on President Clark's side.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. But I think she knew that it was wrong, but she also used these terms of loyalty, duty, and honor. She was loyal to the office of the president, not necessarily to the person who was in it. And I think she was doing the things she was actually supposed to be doing, which is following the orders of the president.
Yeah.
Jeff, I want to own exactly where we are on this.
Okay.
You have served in the military. You have a perspective on this that I do not, because I have never served in the military. I tend to have a rule that I don't comment or talk about stuff that I don't have experience on, that I don't really know about. I'm going to break that rule right now. But I'm asking for your feedback on it.
Okay.
And your interpretation of it. Okay.
Yeah. Before you go there, yeah. I think it's important though to own, yes, I served in the military. I did not serve during wartime. And there's a difference. There's definitely a difference. We used to joke, I served in Clinton's Navy, and so our enemy was dirt. And we defeated our enemy at every encounter.
There you go. There you go.
And not only every encounter, but every counter and deck and commode. Yeah, that's what we did in the Navy.
And please let me take this opportunity to all who have served, Jeff, yourself included. Let me say thank you for your service, particularly those who did serve in combat areas and in combat. I had a really super close friend of mine. His unit just got deactivated. They had a big deactivation ceremony and stuff out in Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing. She said, I'm not really that smart. I don't have a big vocabulary, but I do have these little words, these little words like honor and duty and loyalty. Those are words that are good words. Those are words that mean something, and they mean something very specific to, from what I understand, to military people. Those are three words that are continually hammered home. Like I said, ultimately, I think she was on President Clark's side, but I also think she knew that it was wrong. They weren't supposed to be doing it. But because of loyalty, because of duty, because of honor, she stayed on the side of President Clark, or she stayed on the side of Earth. She stayed on the side of Earth Force. If this is the Revolutionary War, she's on the side of the king. Right? Yeah, I'm not going to use the other word. That's where she is. Whether she agreed with it or not, the king is the king, and I'm going to fight for the king because that's what we do. We are a colony of theirs. That to me, though, says that she was hiding behind those words. And I have a problem with that, I think. That, it's loyal, honor and duty. Loyalty, honor, and duty. Loyal, honor, I got it. She said something to the effect of, like, they don't want me to think. They just do what I'm supposed to do. Like, I have to be detached or something like that. Was that in
this one?
Was that in this one?
I didn't get that in this one.
Was it last week? Oh, it was a Stargate SG-1 episode I was watching the other day. Sorry. Sorry. But in that episode, you had a military lady who was encountering something, who was having a hard time with something, and she's like, I know I'm supposed to be detached. I'm like, yeah, but you're human. You're not, like, it's okay. But anyway, I'm sitting here just thinking about like loyalty, honor, and duty. You can hide behind that and be on the wrong side just because of using those words. Like, you are supposed to use your brain. And she said, you follow orders until one of those orders does something against your conscience, but you choose to not do it, but you don't let that impact other people. If it impacts other people, then you got to keep going through it. And I don't necessarily agree. That feels like hiding behind it. That feels like inaction because of these things. And this is what you're going to put up as your shield as far as like why I shouldn't do it. Jeff, what do you say about using that as an excuse, as something to hide behind, or am I just completely off base? I am open to learning something here.
I think it's wildly complex. And I think what makes any civil war, let me rephrase that, most any civil war really complex and confusing is that. And we saw it at the end of season 4 when we were kind of wrapping up the Earth stuff. I fight for Earth. Both sides said that, and they both believed they were right. I think that the terms loyalty, duty, and honor, those, like you said, those are great words, but there's a lot underneath them. In the United States, we have the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ, which is basically the list of laws and also kind of a code of conduct for how we behave and operate as military personnel. I'm not an expert in the UCMJ, and it has been, holy crud, it's been 30 years almost now since 29 years since I was in the military. Long time. So I don't remember this all very freshly, but my interpretation, my memory of loyalty, honor, and duty would be that meant that if I got an order that was to do a bad thing, I needed to question it. We were never expected to blindly follow orders. And they addressed that in season 4, right? When Sheridan's old instructor went up against him. And,
yeah,
we're supposed to think, that's what we're here for. It's what we're trained to do and assess them. That's where, even up until last week, in my head, I was starting to see Lockley as this potential villain, this foil to Sheridan in some way based on this. But what I saw from her in this told me that she adhered to loyalty, duty, and honor. And in doing that, didn't get involved in the fighting. And I don't know if that meant that she did something extreme. Like maybe she did have a ship and she took the ship off somewhere else, over in Drazi space, and was fighting the Drakh, and they're going to come back and do that Drakh war that apparently we're supposed to get in the next,
Or I'm sorry, because this just occurred to me as you said that. What if she effectively deserted?
Yeah,
that's not great. But you stayed out of the war. I'm not going to take up arms against my own people. Mm-hmm. And I've got to keep my people safe. So I'm going to pull out here and just let happen what happens.
Yep. And then come back in and help clean up whatever needs to be cleaned up.
That actually would make more sense to me, Jeff, than a third side. Yeah. Maybe that is the third side. I also like what you proposed earlier, if I may interject, of that not everybody was involved in the fight. There's a lot of other ancillary services out there, or just other ships and things that aren't a part of this. And she was off taking care of that. I love the idea that she would take care of Earth Force, whether they're on Sheridan or President Clark's side, sort of a patriot feel sort of thing. So anyway, I interrupted. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was just to say, I think that even that, as soon as you say she deserted, there's going to be people say, well, she said that she sticks to loyalty, duty, and honor, and desertion is the opposite of all those things. Well, no, it's not. It's yes, on the surface it is, and most of the time it is, but not when there's like something like this going on. There's complexity, there's layers to look at. I think that we in this moment were given just enough of the story for us to literally have this question. That was the whole point of this, just to dangle this out there. And what I want to believe ultimately is that her number one goal was just making sure her team didn't get pulled into the BS of all the fighting. She protected them at all costs. She was loyal to them. She fulfilled her duty to them. She maintained her honor for them, all while still aligning with the core mission of Earth Force.
Somehow she found a way to not violate her oaths and not be involved in the fighting, keep her people. Like, she found a way to make both happen.
Yeah.
Because she said to Sheridan when we first met her, by the way, I noticed you didn't ask which side I was on. And Sheridan was like, yeah, it didn't matter. We assumed we knew what that meant. That might be recolored now, given this episode. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, here in just a few moments. I like what you're saying, Jeff. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Because the idea of hiding behind and you don't get where she is, or maybe you do, I don't know. I wouldn't think you get where she is by being stupid and playing dumb. Well, it's just loyalty, honor, and duty. That's all I do. Like that, because she's like, oh, I'm just a lowly soldier. I don't know much, but I know that felt very speechy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you're downplaying yourself here. So
it's totally that thing where she's like, look, I'm just a simple caveman who is afraid of your modern technologies. But then I'm going to go on this massive monologue that's just beautiful and amazing, because I don't know. I'm not much for words. I don't have a vocabulary, but here's all this great stuff that literally gets the entire galley to stand up and cheer for her.
Yeah. And apparently she has the respect of the people.
Yeah.
The people.
Because that's the bottom line. That's what she said.
Yeah.
She said, my priority is the people. And I took care of the people. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And what she tacitly said that I heard is, and that's what I will continue to do, is take care of the people.
I think in the end, though, Jeff, you and I are both agreed. She clearly did not say I was on President Clark's side. Like, she
I think clearly and intentionally.
Those words.
Very much so.
Okay. I may amend my statement of saying that I think she was actually on his side. I'm going to go with what you said.
Ooh.
She figured out a third option that allowed her to not violate either her conscience or the Constitution. So I like it.
Yeah, be exciting to find out where it goes.
Can we talk about Delenn?
Yeah, let's do that.
Delenn, specifically in this case, I'm thinking Delenn talking to the two guys from Minbar in that council, and they're like, look, we brought some new people in. What do you think of them? She's like, yeah, they're fine. And they're talking, well, we got all these new people in, all these new races, and there's a Pakmara, and God, they stink, and we don't even know what to do, and this may not work. And Delenn, as gentle as can be, tries to urge them in the right direction. And then when he gets really stupid and makes a really bad joke, she just lays it out. It's like, okay, dummy, I tried letting you come up with it yourself, but you didn't. Here's what you're going to do. And they were like, Delenn, you're a genius. We didn't think about that. What did you think about this particular scene with Delenn, especially from a leadership standpoint, Jeff?
I'm gonna read my note. I hated the scene where they're complaining about the Pakmara. It's petty of them. It shows how Minbari aren't capable of innovative thought, and Delenn ultimately had to spoon feed them the solution, even though she tried to help them see it. They should be absolutely embarrassed. I mean, these are well-respected instructors.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we have this weapon. And did you ever see the movie Swingers?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Great movie. It probably doesn't hold up now that I say that. Probably doesn't hold up at all, especially given the line I'm about to reference. But there's this scene where Vince Vaughn's talking to Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau's trying to pick up some girls at the bar. And Vince Vaughn's trying to hype him up, and he's like, dude, you're like a bear with these rabbits, and you've got this rabbit here, and you're a bear, and you got these claws. And you're like, what do I do with these claws? There's a rabbit. What do I do? I don't know what to do. I got claws and a rabbit. What? That's what this was, right? You got these Pakmara, you got these other pieces, you got these incredible, and you can't even think 2 inches outside of your box to think about how you're going to fit them in. And these are your leaders that are training the next generation? Oh, I do not have confidence in the Anla'shok at this point.
I don't. And I mean, I think but Jeff, isn't that what we have proven with the Minbari over the course of the show is that
Big
they
time.
seem so wise. They seem so amazing. But the more we get to know them, the more absolutely idiotic they sound. And what they really sound like more is a grandpa who can't get over his own generational predilections, right? Like he can't, and prejudices. He can't get over it. He's just, this is just the way it is for him. And everybody's like, well, wait for grandpa to die because we ain't changing him, and hopefully that'll go away with him. Like they're so like, well, this is how we do it. And we put everything in a box. And she says later, and I love this line, and you've got white furies. You've got white stars today, so I'm not going to do this. But she said, our training methods are Minbari to teach Minbari. She said, but we've learned from humanity. I love that specific line. We learned from humanity that our differences are our source of strength. So how can we use the Pak'marat? How do we break this idea that we're trying to fit the Pak'marat in rather than us utilize them for how they are? And I just thought that was a beautiful idea. Don't try to conform people to what we do. Use them as they are. Use their superpower. Jeff, it's something you do really well, my friend.
Thank you.
You allow people to be who they are, and you in doing so allow those people to work and benefit the whole just as they are without trying to fit into a box. You do that really well.
Thank you. I take a lot of pride in it. Actually, it's one of the things I still show up to work every day for is being able to do that. But no, Delenn through this whole sequence was great. I even think when she was literally slapping them in the face with the answer, like she still had that like encouraging tone of like, this would be so great and we can do these things, like, why aren't you seeing this? But she was instructive in what she did. But I think to your point, what's so frustrating about the Minbari is, I mean, the Narn figured this out 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
We have to change and adapt to how the world is changing. And the Minbari can't. Delenn brokered so much of this interstellar alliance. So by proxy, you would imagine the Minbari, or at least some of their ideals, were part of that. But wow.
So let me ask you this. Are we seeing, I think what our friends at Mission Log would have called the gumbification of Minbari society? Matt would say this a lot back when we were doing Beam Me Up. All right. Particularly with Captain Kirk. All right. He would say what they will morph him and make him do stuff that is outside of his established character traits at the beginning of an episode so that he can have this journey through the course of the episode to become what he is supposed to be by the end of the episode. And they would do that frequently, particularly through the original series. They would just sort of make them not be what we know them to actually be to turn. Are we seeing that maybe like JMS is doing that a little bit with Minbari society, making them a little twisty to what we know them not to be, just so that Delenn can have this shining moment?
Maybe I think it's bigger than that, really. I think because when we first saw the Minbari, I mean, God, most of the first season, our Delta conversations were, "Hey, Delenn said this thing." Right. There's so much wisdom in the Minbari. Let's dive into this. And I think that what JMS has done is he started us at that level so that we have this assumption. God, as I think about it more, he did the same thing with the Vorlons. He had them start at this level where we're just like, oh, they're so cryptic. They're so wise. They come in and they say the thing that needs to be said, both the Minbari and the Vorlons. And as the series has progressed, the veneer has kind of come off. And we've gotten, we've dusted off all of the makeup and the dressing, and now we're getting to the reality. We got there with the Vorlons. Turns out they were petty juvenile children bent on destroying the galaxy to prove their point. Now we're getting to the Minbari, and it turns out they're petty juvenile children bent on destroying themselves to stick to their own ways.
It's kind of what the Vorlons were, though, right?
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's just, I think that's the thing is I think the message in the Minbari, at least to this point, is that the things that the sacred cows we hold high, the great wisdoms that we look to, when you get to know them and you really break down what's actually the real substance that's there, not so special and just as struggling as the rest of us.
I wonder how that's going to change for us on Babylon 5 for the second time. watching season 1 Delenn and season 1 Minbari, having the knowledge of them that we do now. Like, think about watching how many references have I used so far, Jeff? Am I on 3? Have I used all 3 of them?
No, not yet. I think we've got 2.
Okay, cool. I'm going to use my 3rd, but I'm going to have to borrow one from you later.
We only get 3. There's no borrowing.
Because it's a collective thing, isn't it? Oh, that's right. We changed the rules. Oh, okay. I'm not going to use this particular example. But think of any big bad guy that you learn stuff more about later on through the course of a series, and then you go back and watch them in the earlier episodes.
Okay.
Before they had fully established everything with them, and think about them through that. Or, maybe a major character change moment that they sort of pull out of the blue in, I don't know, season 5 or something. And then you go back and watch the first 4 seasons thinking that the whole time. Yeah. Speaking of a major character change moment, before we get into, I think, probably the bigger part of this whole episode as we round this out, Jeff, let's talk about Lockley and what is her history with Sheridan?
Yeah.
Because she says this thing in a moment like, oh, that's not like him. And, oh, what do you mean? And then Garibaldi does look at an open file because apparently Zach really was checking up on Lockley and checking out her deal. And he walks away and doesn't lock his computer screen and just lets Garibaldi look anyway, whatever, Zach. I said he was really good at his job. Let me take off the really and just say he's good at his job. And then Delenn has this whole question and Sheridan gets this look on his face, and then they've got their backs to each other and not in a good way.
Yeah, that look, in my opinion, was played for laughs, right? Just, I mean, the framing of him shutting the door, the whole like, oh, I don't know. But then immediately it was like, no, this isn't funny. This is pretty, whatever it is.
Yeah.
This is something serious.
Yeah. So, I mean, the clear answer, the obvious answer is that Sheridan and Lockley were a thing at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And he never told Delenn when he brought her on that they have history. Let's go. I don't think it's like a sister or a cousin. I posited that idea, but I don't think it's that. I think it's clear there's some history here, and now this is like an ex-girlfriend or something. How do you feel about that knowledge? Let's assume that that's true. How do you feel about that knowledge, knowing that Sheridan and Lockley have some history?
I don't think they had a relationship. And I'm thinking that just based on when they first met.
Uh-huh.
And it was so hey, I asked for you here. I looked at your record. I know these things about you. And it was commanding officer who, looked through some jackets and selected this person kind of. It wasn't I remember that time you did this, mm-hmm. or, hey, when we went and did that thing, even if it was still professional or whatever, that didn't come up at all. But I think that there is history, like not a relationship per se, but like maybe they were in the same club or fraternity thing. I say fraternity, but I mean, it's different, in the future. We're not keeping fraternities and sororities and stuff aren't so gender specific anymore, but like maybe they were in the academy in the same house, or whatever they track. And there was some incident, I'm thinking in terms of like Brendan Fraser, School Ties, kind of a thing.
By the way,
great film,
hard
film to watch, but good one.
Yeah.
Real high point for Brendan Fraser. But they did some not good stuff and they were involved in that together. And that's going to be my guess, is there was some like not good stuff, academy, university, way back in the day kind of thing. Maybe when he was hanging out with the Dalai Lama stuff, maybe even that far back.
I think you're absolutely wrong.
Okay.
I think the implication is incredibly clear that Sheridan and Lockley have had a prior relationship, ex-girlfriend, and I 1000% hate this. I hate this as a turn. This is a betrayal of everything that we have seen in the other 2 episodes that Lockley was in.
All 2 of them.
All 2 of them. Yes, both of them. But There has never once been any indication, even when Sheridan and she were in private. Let's say they had a bad breakup and we're going to keep it professional. We're going to keep it strictly this. Even still, if you have that sort of prior relationship with somebody, if you're alone in a room, you call that person by their first name.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're pissed at them, even if there's some bad blood here, you know what I mean? You still, at least behind closed doors, there is a difference in how you treat that person than this cold whatever that they're putting up. And I felt like it was a complete betrayal. If this was an intended plotline for Lockley from the beginning, it does not feel like that to me. This feels like something that JMS got to episode 5 and went, you know, it would be really cool. What if we made Lockley and Sheridan have a prior relationship, you know, prior to him marrying Anna? Like, she's an old girlfriend and now he's brought her in. Like, what wouldn't that throw a little, or the studio came in and said, hey, you got to do something different with her. Something changed.
Yeah.
But it is a betrayal of everything I feel like we have seen so far. And I don't like it. I'm sure it's going to be fine because I think they're going to have to follow up on this. This is going to be where we're going. But I don't care for this particular plot twist at all.
Well, even as I was talking about how there's no way it's a relationship, I was like, yeah, it is. The way she's like, Mr. President, let me, like, they were almost using their titles and ranks as like a pejorative almost.
Even if they were going overboard with that and overacting, like giving us a hint, lay this out from episode 1 through and let us see this cracking all the way to this one point, giving us this one line of, wow, he's never really done that before. And that just like, no, you have not, you didn't. Here it is, Jeff. I got it. This one is unearned.
Oh yeah.
Babylon 5 does so good at earning its moments. This one is completely unearned.
It'd be a betrayal, really, of what we've come to know with this series. In fact, I think foundationally, there are foundational relationships and rules to relationships that say this can't be the case. They can't have dated. And that foundational rule is, especially when you're young, you can't date someone with the same name as your sister. You just can't do it. It's not possible. That's a deep cut to your favorite episode, Revelations.
I'm so glad we've never seen her again. Oh my gosh. All right, Jeff. Let's hit the big part.
Yeah.
So we got Tanir and, I'm sorry, what was the other dude's name?
Rastin.
Tanir and Rastin. They come on the station. Somebody's in trouble. They go off. They're as different as can be personality wise. And dude gets the ever-loving snot kicked out of him. And then he comes up and he's got to face the Mora'dum. That sounds very Lord of the Rings-ish to me, Jeff.
Well, I think there's only there's until Zaha'dum, Mora'dum, Zaha'dum. Like there's something I want to say about until Mora'dum.
The terror of the one in the shadow.
And I'm sorry. So he's out, he's down and he's out. And Dr. Franklin's like, if he wasn't Minbari, he'd be dead. Like right. This is they, they were sending a message. And then Delenn goes to Lockley and is like, hey, so he told us what happened. He's going to go do, this is our deal now. And we're going to go do Mora'dum. And she's like, what is Mora'dum? And in probably Delenn's cheesiest, most corny line delivery ever, she said, terror.
I loved it. I loved it.
I hated it so
right,
much.
And I loved it.
Hated it. The way she's staring off into the distance as she says it, I'm just like, oh. Immediately I knew, I'm like, oh, this is going to be dumb. This is going to be, and I'm sorry, it kind of was.
No, it was brilliant. It was. Oh, I loved it. Okay. The physics of it, you got to set that aside. He just got beat to within an inch of his life. As soon as he can stand, he's now going to go face this guy. No. No, there needs to be some sort of listen, as soon as he stands, he needs to be able to go to the bathroom on his own before he gets into doing anything else like that
with no blood in it.
Right.
Like, let's let that heal.
Yes. And then let them go fight mano a mano. That being said, the poetry of it, the storytelling aspect of it, the idea that as part of their training that you would have to go, you get the snot kicked out of you. You're now scared of that thing. Even if you don't think you are, subconsciously, you're freaked out by it. So how do you get over being scared about something, Jeff?
Yeah, you go face it.
Go face it. And they set him up. They throw him in a ring. They pull Trace in against his will, by the way. And Trace sits there. And I want to ask, what did you think of this whole deal? He said many times, I don't know how to use this thing. This dude is trained. Yeah, but he's not really that trained. So suck it up. You're going to do it anyway. I could probably still, even if I don't know how to fight with a pipe, I can still probably do some damage with a pipe, especially if I'm fully healthy and the other guy is jacked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Turns out they cheated because he was trained by the master. Whatever. And then we all got a smile and a wink at the end. It's like, Minbari don't lie, right? Anyway, right. I don't know that I really... I don't know how I feel about the Minbari. Like, he's sitting here saying, I don't know how to use this. He throws the weapon down. He's like, I'm not going to do this. And then they just let him go through it. Like,
if you fly the plane up high enough, this was beautiful. This was, like you said, it was poetry. It was a great idea. But
that's where I'm choosing to look at it from, by the way, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You can do that. It's beautiful to look at the world from 35, 40,000 feet. It looks really nice. Yes. It's when you get close that you decide to turn away and go somewhere else. Because I think there was a moment Tennier was cool because like they started doing the pike thing and it wasn't going well. And eventually, like dude threw it down, and so I thought it was cool. Tennier was like, okay, this is how we're doing it. He threw his down and they went hand to hand, and I was like, oh, okay, he's doing this.
Can I read you my note at that particular moment?
Yeah,
like that specific moment. I said, and suddenly we're watching an episode of the Power Rangers. Oh, wait, no, it's 1960s Batman. Oomph, zap, pow. Oh, no, wait, it's just a spaghetti Western. And now I want to hear that ricochet sound that a bullet has from spaghetti Westerns.
Yeah.
Yep. Like no gun ever sounds like that. That's what I expected to hear, because the fight choreography for this scene was awful.
We were so spoiled with Marcus fight scenes.
Yes.
For 2 seasons that were just like, oh my gosh. And then we get this. Again, it's just, are we in season 1? For goodness sake, this is inexcusable. But I think my biggest issue with my two biggest problems with this are Lockley comes to terms with this and she's like, so he's going to stand alone. And Delenn is like, yeah, he will stand alone. And then there's like 1,000 Minbari walking through and helping set up the little terror thing for like he never stood by himself. He had a whole crew behind him the whole time. And over here you got Durin just taunting the ever-living snot out of this guy. This wasn't helping Tennier face his fear. This was a gang of Minbari beating up on another bully.
And that's what I mean, because effectively what you have then is they forced Trace into doing this fight. Honestly, I think rightly so. They lined, I mean, you're from wrestling. Think about those times when you line the ring with wrestlers to throw people back in. Like, we're going to force you to do this fight so that he can face his fear of you.
Yeah, lumberjack match, right? Lumberjack match leads to the steel cage match, leads to the Hell in the Cell match, leads to the I Quit match. Yeah.
Yeah. And then especially where they're like, well, young people don't really know how to use the pikes either, so you're evenly matched, so keep going. Now, that being said, I will say this. This may be the most un-American thing I've ever said here on the show, Jeff. The moment Trace laid hands or had hands laid on Tennier, he gave up all rights to recourse. The man got what he deserved. Man got what he deserved. And, that's my Southern justice right there, Jeff. Like, he got what he's up.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not gonna fight it.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said. Let's go back to schoolyard justice, because when you and I were growing up, that had a different meaning than it has. 100% that had a different meaning than what it has today. But I have very clear memories of, and I think we've talked about this before. Hey, I got a problem with you. 3:00 behind the shop, we're doing this. And you go at 3:00 behind the shop and you do it. And then tomorrow morning when you show up at 7:30 in the morning, it's all good.
You're best friends.
Yep.
Every single, I didn't get in that many physical fights as a kid, Jeff. There was a handful. To a T, every single time that person turned into my best friend.
Same.
Or one of my best friends. They really did. Like I don't know why that works for us that way, but it just did.
Well, what it is it's the concept of a fair fight, right? You and him or her and just you and this other person, no gang, no weapons, no tricks, just you in the dirt, fists, and you go. And the thing is, really, there aren't a lot of fists, right? Those fights weren't fights. They were rolling around on the ground and pulling clothes, maybe a punch here or there, but you just got your aggression out, and it was fair, And again, we were in a time where I want to be crystal clear to anybody listening: physical violence is not the answer. I'm not telling you to go get in fights with people. But what I'm saying is that a fair confrontation that can happen in debate, right? That can happen in a sales negotiation. If it's fair, you can get through it and you're going to be good. Nothing about this was fair. Trace and his gang attacking Tenier, not fair. Open the door to Tenier coming back and then making it. But then that's where you get the escalation on top of. What if his gang wants to go get revenge now? They have a blood oath against the Rangers. They'll lose, but now you got all this violence because no one had the courage to just have a fair fight.
I would amend one thing. I'd say if you're grown adults and you're both consenting, have it out with a physical fight. The problem with this is Trace clearly did not consent. He was very vocal. I do not consent to doing this, and they forced him to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's where I had a little bit of a. However, when I go watch Fast and the Furious movies, I don't worry about the physics of somebody jumping out of a moving plane and actually still being able to land in in an exact spot. Like, that's just not how things happen. I'm going to go away from this and I'm going to watch this from that 30,000 foot. Jeff, I will tell you this. There is one thing that I know is still true about Babylon 5. After watching this episode, after all this time, you can still beat anyone up on the station you want to and have no recourse.
It's totally fine.
It's absolutely okay.
You can shoot
episode 1.
You can shoot somebody at point blank range with a PPG and drag their body out into the middle of the down below, and it's probably fine. A note on Turval. Did you notice that he's played by the same guy who played the Emperor in The Coming of Shadows?
Emperor Turan?
Uh-huh.
Really? No.
Yeah, same actor.
Is he? That's cool.
And his name, the actor's name is Turan. Like, that's where they got the name, was his name, which I thought was, I'm guessing at least, but that's pretty cool. Like,
Jeff, I have one more observation.
Okay.
And then
I have one more also.
It's going to be up to you to break this one down for our White Stars conversation. Go first with your final one.
My final observation was that they brought up Lanier and how he has been training too hard, and he's either trying to fight something against something or for something.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. Did you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I did. That's actually probably the thing I hated the most about this episode was Lanier wasn't in it. This was the perfect opportunity to bring Lanier back. Take Lanier and put him in the spot of Raston, or put him in the spot of Tenier, Lanier, whatever. Put him there. Maybe it was written for Bill Mummy and he wasn't available the week they were filming this, so they did something else. I don't know. But I was so mad that he was not in this episode because it was perfect for a Lanier return. Because, by the way, guess what? Bill Mummy still in the opening credits.
Yeah.
And if they wind up Keffering this dude, I'm going to be so mad because we love Lanier.
We do. I wonder if it was supposed to be linear and they're like, last minute, Bill's like, I can't make it. And they're like, well, let's get this guy. We'll call him Menir. No, Tenir. Yeah, we'll just
That's right.
we'll go with that.
Because he kind of had a little bit of a young Lanier look. And honestly, Rastin and Tenir kind of like the two sides of Lanier. Like if you take his personality divided into two, it's kind of almost those two pieces, right?
That's true.
But I will say this, and this is I'm going to use our third Star Trek piece right here, Jeff. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Here's the big Star Trek thing for you, since we don't do Star Trek messages anymore, Jeff. Tenir goes out and risks his life to save this girl. The other guy does not. Tenir gets beat up and ends up in the hospital, and the other guy does not. As a result, Tenir must face his terror, and he learns about pitying the other guy and owning his own name. The other guy does not learn that lesson. As a result, and in the end, Tenir is honored to be named to Delenn's house guard, and the other guy is not. Suddenly, Jeff, this is feeling very much like the episode Tapestry from Next Generation.
Wow. Yeah. What a difference a choice makes.
Mm-hmm.
Just one little choice.
Yeah. And it may not work out well. Bad stuff may happen, but it's in those choices that are going to turn you into the gold later. Without making those choices, you wind up wearing a blue shirt down below as a junior lieutenant, never really having an impact.
It's a thing I tell my teams, and people make fun of me for it, but I think it's a great little saying, and that is, it takes pressure to create diamonds.
Yeah.
And me, I work with a bunch of diamonds. But that is that difference, right? Tenir got pressure, and now he has the potential to come out as a diamond. Rastin, probably not so much.
I think Tenir did come out as a diamond. When they sat there and went through that whole piece, like, so how do you feel about this guy now? I pity him. Why? Well, how do you feel about the name Tenir? It's mine. I own it. You know, like he can step into who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Well, Jeff, with that, I think we've reached that part of the show where it is time to boil it down and see if this episode has any of those deep moral messages to it. Is it holding up a mirror to society, doing that thing that sci-fi shows do really well? Is it giving us hope that we can be better in the future, or maybe even showing us how we get there? Does it deliver that message in its own unique Babylon 5 way? All of that is going to be considered today, Jeff, as you rate this episode on a scale of 0 to 5 white stars. What do you got?
Well, you already mentioned humanity and the strengths of diversity, which was a piece of this, and it's something we covered in detail in season 4. And I loved the callback to it in this and the application of it. Delenn actually showing how it works. But the real deep dive I have on this one is, what does it mean to have a purpose? What does it mean to have a reason for living? Back in the episode comes the Inquisitor, another one that we were on opposite sides of. I talked about having a personal mission statement. I shared that mine is to improve others' potential and help them unleash it through my interactions with them. This episode says that if I die with my heart in the fullest pursuit of that mission, then my life had meaning. My death had meaning. Travol's counsel to Rastin in this episode, because I think the thing we didn't talk about, and I don't think that the episode really dove into, is Traval set Rastin up with his own internal terror that he had to work through. We didn't get to explore that, and that's unfortunate. But what he gave him is something for all of us. Rastin is afraid of dying over something trivial or foolish. Now, he's Anla'shok, right? For goodness sake. His death must have purpose or meaning because he's a ranger. But Traval tells him and us that we create meaning in our lives, not being a ranger, not some random external factor. This goes back to the many discussions you and I've had on Be, Do, Have. It's not what you have. It's not what you do. It's who you are and why you are here. And if you die or get hurt or suffer a hardship for being who you truly are and living your true purpose, that's what meaning is. I think for the Rangers, it's summed up in the phrase that we die for the one. We live for the one, we die for the one. You brought up a couple episodes ago that the one is not a person. It's not Valen. It's not Delenn. It's not Sheridan. It's the totality. It's us. We are one, right? So dying for the one means dying for all. Dying for the people. I love how Terval wrapped all this up, and I think this is kind of where the message really hits. We do every right thing because it's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Period.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. Just do what is right. But I got to ask if this was the intended message of the episode. Was the infusion of the use of diversity the intent of this episode? And I don't think that it was necessarily the full message of this one, but I do think that Tanir's macho honor guy fight thing was supposed to reinforce the message on this one. But I don't think they really did it in a very Babylon 5 way. Like, honestly, I think they did it in a pretty lame way. Like, it was like I think it missed the mark, right? I'm going to lay my life.
Can I tell you how I think they did it?
Yeah.
I think they did it in a very Star Trek way.
God, you're right. You're right. They did. And I'm sitting here, hey, everybody, I just called the Star Trek way the lame and the dumb way. Because it was. This was so paint by numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they were going to arrest this guy. And I don't know. The whole Trace storyline drags this one down for me, not just in terms of the episode, but in terms of the message. It watered down the message for me. So I'm going to give this one 2.5 white stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, I can't argue with that because them's the rules. Although I got to tell you, I would have taken exactly what you said. And my interpretation was, yeah, that is exactly the point of this episode. That's what they wrote. This episode did all those things that we've asked of an episode to do of sci-fi, even if it did it in a cheesy way, Jeff. I would have given it. I would have probably come really close to doubling your white star account.
Are you serious?
But I can't change it. I can't argue with you, Jeff. You are the final authority on this episode for this week, son.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I could see an argument to 3, maybe even, but almost 5? Wow.
Because I think that's literally when I look back at this episode had a point. The writer was aiming towards something, and he was delivering the story in an allegorical way. Because I think the only way I can explain the minutia of this episode that you and I both had issues with is it's an allegory. And when things are allegories, it doesn't have to line up exactly. In fact, it's better to not think of it like that. That's the only way. So that's how I'm getting around it in my head. But yeah,
I guess my push
places of this episode. That's
we are. Yeah. And I think the thing we can agree on is that the message was great.
Yeah.
And that it was not delivered in the way I would expect Babylon 5 to deliver the message.
That's why I would lose a white star. Because it wouldn't have been done in a super Babylon 5 unique way. So maybe it actually loses a whole white star because of that. But I loved the message, and I did think it was exactly the point of this episode.
Okay. I appreciate that last piece, because I was about to call someone to check in on you, make sure you're doing okay. I was worried.
Whatever, man. It's just like your opinion, bro.
Well, here's the fun part about Babylon 5 for the first time. I get my opinion. I get to put this out. You get your opinion as well, and you get to share it. I don't get to argue with it on this one either, as we are creating the absolutely definitive ranking of all the episodes in season 5 of Babylon 5. And that, my friend, lands in your lap. Our current ranking in number 1, The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari. 2, No Compromises. 3, A View from the Gallery. And 4, The Paragon of Animals. Brent, you get to round out the top 5. Where are you putting this one?
It's not even going to touch The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari.
Yeah.
Not even going to touch it.
I would quit this show if it did.
So where I'm looking at is I'm looking at these last two episodes that we've did, A View from the Gallery and Paragon of Animals. To me, this episode is way better than either of those two episodes. So then I come to No Compromises, which is in our number 2 spot. And I go, was this better than No Compromises? Which one would I want to watch again? And I'm trying to remember everything that No Compromises was about. I'm looking at my notes about it. And I'm going to say that I think No Compromises is actually a better episode than this. And I don't think it's that close. Like, I really don't. But this is better than the other two. So this is going to become our new number 3 episode for right now. I did like this episode. Just,
I would have ranked it the same place.
Yeah.
Because I've been highly critical of this episode. On balance, it is a good episode.
Yeah.
Just has some pretty big flaws in it, and we'll just call those trace.
That feels like the definition of what we've seen of season 5 so far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they've all been, like, every single episode this season, Jeff, all 5 of them, you and I have said, we like this episode. The episode was fine. How did it feel? It's a little weird. There's a little meh to it right now for me, but it's not, but just as an hour of television, it was fine. And you know what it is? It's just not where we've come so far down from where we left off at the end of season 4. And Very Long Night of Londo Mollari definitely matched it, because that episode was clearly written as a season 4 episode.
Exactly.
It's clearly written as a season 4 episode. These other 4 episodes right now, not so much.
No. Well, that's it for Learning Curve. Next week, we're watching Strange Relations for the first time. We've never seen these episodes. We haven't seen thumbnails, read descriptions, anything. And the game we love playing and that people like playing along with us as we try to predict what the next episode is going to be about based on the title alone. So, Brent, what do you think Strange Relations will be about?
All right, Jeff, stop me if you've heard this one before. And then I want you to tell me, in all the times that we have done this, how many times it's actually worked out for me.
Okay.
I think this next episode is going to follow directly on the heels of this episode. That's your cue. Say, Brent, those never work out.
But it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Next time,
I think this one's going to be all about relationships on Babylon 5 and how everybody has hard times with their relationships. Sheridan and Delenn, they got beef. Sheridan and Lockley, they got history, which I hate, by the way. Hey, by the way, end of season 4, Garibaldi's on Mars. He goes and rescues Lise, and they're in a hotel, and they've just done what, Jeff?
I believe they got married is what happened.
And Michael's back on Babylon 5, and we haven't heard a word about Lise.
Well, she's off running Hampton Edgar's Garibaldi Industries.
Yeah,
Heg Industries.
But it's time for the wife to just at least put in an appearance. Speaking of wives, you know who else it's time to have put in an appearance? Tamav. It's time to see Londo's wife that he kept. Tamav is going to be back. I'm really hoping this is a comedy episode, Jeff. I hope this is about relationships. It's another one of those I think is just not going to be about the main plot of the season. I'm really hoping that's where we go, but it's just this look at everybody's relationships as we kind of move forward through. What do you think?
Almost the same. I think this is going to pick. Yeah, it's going to pick right up where the other one did, and but I think the real focus is going to be the Sheridan and Lockley stuff, whatever that was. So they're going to be talking about that, and then there's going to be strife between Delenn and Sheridan of some kind. They're going to have their first big marital conflict they'll have to work through. But I also think I don't think we're going to see Lise, but I think we're going to see Lanier. I think we're going to start getting a little bit of insight into what's going on. So I think literally this is just going to take like some of the two biggest things they dropped in this episode, boop, 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 and right into that one. And we're going to find out right here next week. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us for this conversation on this wildly divisive episode. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. Leave us a rating and a review, and please share this video and podcast with someone who loves Babylon 5 or is just about to fall in love with this incredible series. So, Brent, until next time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, what's up?
So when Zach was put in an awkward situation, he started saying, "Hey, look at this bowl. What's this taste? Is it saffron? I hate saffron."
Yeah.
Here's my question for you.
Okay.
What do you do when you're in an awkward situation?
What do I do? Dude, I get the hell out of there.
Initiating getting the hell out of here maneuver.
We're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
Thank you for following me on that.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you for following me on that.
What do you do in those situations?
When I'm in an awkward situation?
Yeah.
When
you're the Zach.
Yeah. And two people are arguing in front of me, I think I generally just make my exit. Like the fact that Zach just sat there and was like, my wife is the peacemaker. She'll try to have everybody sing Kumbaya and hold hands. And I would just be like, hey, I'm gonna let y'all have this conversation, and I'm gonna go and see.
My name is Pitt, and I'm seeing my way out of this stuff.
Because frankly, it ain't me. You don't need me here for this. I ain't trying to get in the middle of your stuff.
I'm gonna bring this
You
down.
know, either that, or I become the like I said, my wife is the peacemaker, and by peacemaker I mean she's gonna be the one who tries to be like get the two people talking and apologizing. I'm gonna be the guy who's like on both people's sides and be like, okay, look, you did it this way. I completely understand that. You did it this way. That actually is really understandable. You guys are stop this. Like, I'm gonna like, she's gonna try to make you work it out on your own. I'm gonna like try to jump in. It's either that
you're gonna say there's no issue here, people. See, there's no issue.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm gonna get super involved, or I'm gonna get not involved. That's how I handle it. How do you handle it in real life?
I am so I've had family and friends go through recovery, like addiction recovery, and one of the exercises they have you do is like people in your life have play different roles, and the role that every single person I know who's gone through recovery has put me in the role of what they call mascot. So I'm the person who sees the chaos, the conflict, the whatever, and I use humor or whatever I can to bring it down and let everyone know that everything's going to be fine. I'm basically a more effective Zach. Because seriously, who doesn't like saffron? It's delicious.
I got to be honest, I'm not sure what saffron tastes like.
It's really good. It's also super expensive.
Oh, is it?
Grows in this flower. It's difficult to grow, and you have to, by hand, they have to coax the saffron out of the flower. You can't automate it. Like, it's done by hand.
Wow. And
so like if you ever had like biryani rice or like a rice with like that yellow tint to it, a lot of times that's got saffron in it. And so it just kind of has that, I'm going to say it has a fragrant taste to it, but that's a stupid way of describing it. But yeah, it's just it's very flavorful. We here in the West would call it exotic, probably.
Exotic.
Yeah, but it's good.
I'm sure I've had it. I'm sure I've tasted it. I just couldn't tell you where it is. Jeff, welcome to Club 65, my friend.
We've made it.
Yes. And to all you guys out there, welcome. You have now entered. We need like a now entering Club 65. Like, you're here.
Ew.
Welcome to the club. Jeff, I had two notes that I did not get to during the episode.
Oh, okay.
That I wanted to bring up. One, I want a light where I can just switch it off by waving my hand in front of it. Although I got to tell you, like, that light would be going off and on all the time, like, just because people are messing with it. Like, my kids are gonna come in and do something, or I'm gonna wave my hand and it's gonna be like the faucet in the bathrooms.
Right.
It doesn't actually do anything. It's like, what are you doing? Can we just go back to knobs, please?
I forget what comedian did a bit on that, but it was great. It's like, hey, you know how those sinks, like you turn the knob and it works? Yeah, we're gonna change that. It's not gonna work anymore.
There's a guy, comedian, John Caparulo,
Yeah.
When did you have to become a Jedi to wash your hands? Oh, by the way, here's Minbari dude said Rastin, he's like, oh, I should have gone with him. Like when he was having his little guilt trip moment, I should have gone with him. And all I wanted the other Minbari dude to be like, yeah, dude, you never leave your wingman. Never leave your wingman.
Never. Rule number 1.
Yeah, like I so wanted him to say it. Here's the other thing. Have an inner voice that smiles.
Yeah.
No one has an inner voice that smiles. Well, I do. And I'm like, yeah, have an inner voice that smiles. I love that.
Yeah, I would have liked more of like the Ranger training. That was kind of interesting.
Sit there and meditate, but don't let us distract you because you're in such a meditative state. That's an interesting Minbari thing that they're trying to do.
Have you watched any of the newer Beavis and Butthead?
No.
It's up on Paramount Plus here in the States.
Yeah.
They did an episode where they happened into a meditation class in the park, and they were being ridiculous or whatever, but they're just like, clear your mind and reach nirvana. And because it's Beavis and Butthead, they did. They oh yeah, we can totally empty our mind of thoughts. And so they end up in heaven, and they end up beating up Jesus and the Buddha and everybody because they're Beavis and Butthead. Wow. But the thing is, like, they're messing with them in the park with their and they have it's exactly that. They have no idea what's even happening because they're in such a meditative state. So
I grew up with Beavis and Butthead on TV, and I did not watch it that much. I did not enjoy it. I really didn't. Like I don't know, maybe I was just a little young for it. I tend to not appreciate that kind of humor. Although I will say, there was one episode where they both forgot how to pee.
Yeah.
And they just held it in. Jeff, I might not have gone pee for 3 days after that.
Right. Because it's like,
because all of a sudden I started thinking about it. Like, what do I got to do? But I will say this. Wow. You have that drop ready to go.
I do.
Oh my word. I will say this though. I did watch the movie Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah.
Loved every minute of that movie. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, if the show was this, I would be down for it. Like, I don't know what was different about the movie to the show or the show to the movie, but I thought it was hilarious. But no, I have not watched the new one yet.
It's worth it. It's okay. I think what's funny for me, Beavis and Butthead growing up, was a way to discover some new music. Like one of the big stories that they'll tell is that White Zombie, as most people now know him as Rob Zombie, White Zombie came to the forefront because of Beavis and Butthead. Like they had Thunder Kiss 65 on an episode, and they were just like, this rules. Yeah. And then, yes, it does rule. Let's go buy this record and go. What they do with it in the new one is they watch TikToks or YouTube videos.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes it's just stupid. Like there'll be a video happening and they're having an entirely different conversation. And then sometimes they're actually making fun of it. And it's hit or miss, but when it hits, it's really good.
Does MTV even exist anymore?
I have no idea.
I mean, I know they stopped playing music videos a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. I haven't had I just have streaming.
I loved MTV. I loved MTV when they were doing music videos.
Yeah.
Like the occasional like Daria or Real World, the occasional something like MTV News, I thought was an interesting deal. But what I really loved, give me the countdowns, give me the music videos, premiere a new music video. It was my radio growing up. It's how I got to know my artist through the 90s.
We used to drop a VHS tape in on ELP, speed extended long play, and just like I'm going to bed, hit record and just let it record all night. And then you get home from school, slap the tape in. When Yo MTV Raps was playing, bust in Headbangers Ball that you'd recorded. But Ricky Rackman was just, God, that's how I learned how like bands recorded. They interviewed Megadeth after they did their Rust in Peace record. They talked to,
bands would talk about their songs and what they meant and what they were really saying. You had live concerts, reunion shows. MTV did the Nirvana Unplugged thing, and they did a couple of that was
a lot of Unplugged.
That was the stuff I love. Like I truly loved watching all that stuff. And then they got so ridiculous with Real World. Like Real World was, when did Real World jump the shark? Like when did it just become stupid and ridiculous?
I
Season
couldn't tell
1
you for
was
sure.
legit.
Season 1 was so
amazing.
good.
Yeah, season 3 was really good. You know, and then and somewhere like season 4, season 5, it started getting, they started it almost became a formula at that point.
Uh-huh.
You know, they started making everybody younger and like putting people in situations just to fight, rather like, because the first couple seasons were, we're going to take these 7 very different people and throw them in a house and just see what happens. And the rest of them were like, no, we're going to set some stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what we're doing now, so we're going to set this up because this is going to drive ratings or whatever. And it was like, yeah.
And it drove ratings enough. That's all they did on the show. But
Well,
I will always be thankful for the Real World because it generated The Miz, who started out as a terrible pro wrestler who grew up into one of the he's going to be one of the greats. When we look back,
he was one of the people who like won the game show, didn't he? Wasn't there like some sort of like reality show competition show?
So you're thinking about it was NXT that they did the Tough Enough.
Yeah, that was it right there. Yeah, Tough Enough. Didn't he like win Tough Enough and get the WWE contract? And he came up with the
I think so.
And all that.
And he got beat. I remember JBL on commentary would just rip him up one side and down the other. Undertaker took some liberties with him, and that's what you did. That's how it worked back in the day. But he kept showing up, and he had to
go through his. He had to earn his stripes at that point because he came in a different way. They had to make sure he was new.
He main evented WrestleMania with The Rock. Like that was 10 years ago almost, but maybe less than that. But like he arrived, and he really came to understand what it was. But he would have been nothing if it wasn't for the Real World. And then I mean, you think about Tough Enough. You had guys like the Boogeyman, the guy who ate worms, who came from there. Maven, who that's going back. I haven't thought about Tough Enough in a long time.
I was just old enough to stop watching stuff when that came on. Like I was intrigued. I was kind of out of wrestling at that point. Like I'd watched all through my middle school years and my early high school years and stuff. And I think just life, I had to stop. Like it was when WCW really became a thing, and they legit started like intruding on WWF's place.
Yeah, it's like in the late 96.
It was before the Attitude Era. It was like right before the Attitude Era hit. But I never really watched WCW. Like I tried, and it still just never appealed to me, even with the same wrestlers. It just never appealed to me as much as WWE did, or WWF. I forget which one.
They were WWF back then.
But I just sort of, I remember peripherally sort of following WCW, and then I saw the whole thing, like where Triple H went over and did the stuff, and then eventually they merged and one bought the other and all that sort of stuff and brought it home. And at that point I was often doing my own stuff. Because wrestling is you got to follow the show. You got to follow the story. Like, so
I don't know a time when I didn't watch. Like that doesn't exist for me.
Yeah.
So
I went to WrestleMania, my first WrestleMania a couple years ago. It was the first WrestleMania they had right after COVID. They broke it up into 2 nights, and it was in Tampa, and I had the hookup. So, and it got ringside seats, which was awesome. So, but we were on the side of the TV cameras, so we weren't going to be on TV. But anyway, it was my first WWE event. I was shocked at how awful everything looked live.
Yeah,
it looked awful.
It's made for TV. And it's hard. That's the thing I learned when I was in the industry is there's WWE and there's everyone else. And the difference is it's not a quality issue. It's a production issue. WWE is produced for the television audience. The crowd that's there, they're just a prop. You know, they're just part of what. And there was a time during the Attitude era that they became a character, you know, in a way, and with their signs and stuff. It was exciting. It was cool, but
the way
not
they would
anymore.
chant back to the wrestlers, and the wrestlers would play off that and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now it's not. In fact, I know people. Karrion Kross is a guy I worked with quite a bit. He's had a okay run, and he had a better run in NXT than he did WWE. But I was chatting with him, a couple years ago. I was in Vegas, and it's where I worked with him. And he was saying it was hard because when you're anywhere else, you learn things like how to work all four sides of the ring, how to build that connection with the audience, where the energy comes up and whatever. You get to WWE, and the first thing they tell you is, "There's the cameras. That's where you're working."
Yeah.
You want to come down and slap hands? Your character doesn't slap hands. That's a thing that characters do. You don't do that. And if you do, we'll fine you. Like, you know, we'll come at. It's a different product.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's bad, but I think what's hard is when someone like you, who's grown up, you've seen it and you're excited, and you're like, I'm going to go see the granddaddy of them all. I'm going to WrestleMania. I'm going to see it. And you're just like, 60% of the time it was just quiet and nothing was happening.
Yeah.
I was sitting there waiting for the next thing.
Yeah. Or like, and I remember, so this one, there was a whole thing where the lights went out and somebody appeared or somebody disappeared or something like that. Well, let me tell you what, it wasn't completely dark in the stadium. And I saw the person like climb up onto the box, climb up off the box. Like you see everything. Yeah. And I get it. Like it's a thing. I have been to one other wrestling event. It was in a place called Wofford, Kentucky. It was a 10:30, 11:30 show on a Saturday night. I was working with some buddies. We needed a break. We were going to be pulling an all-nighter because we had to get the project done. And we just needed a break. And my buddy said, get in the car. Let's go. I got the perfect thing for us. We'll take an hour. We'll come back. So, okay, cool. We go out there and we're watching this thing. It's a full wrestling ring with 2 rows of chairs all the way around the ring. Like that was it.
Folding chairs.
Folding chairs. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And this isn't like a strip mall. It's like in a strip mall, right? And you go in and they have like a backstage area with curtains, and the guys come out and they're playing songs off a CD.
Yep. That
may or may not actually be skipping. Like it was just bad. And you see the people in the back like talking to each other and stuff. And I'm here with just all my good old boys, Jeff, the people I love. Them's my people, let me tell you what. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, I have this thought of going, okay, I know that this is a show. It's a show. Mm-hmm. The guys in the ring know that this is a show. I'm not so sure that anyone else here understood this is a show.
Yeah, there's a special kind of person that goes to those locals, and they go, that's church.
But I was going to say 80% of those chairs were filled, and it was probably, I don't think it's exaggerating to say that it was 15 to 25 chairs on each side, maybe more. It was probably 30 to 50 with the 2 rows combined. So you got a couple. There was probably about 100 people or so there, if I had to guess. Like, yeah, they had an audience for sure. You were right up next to them too, though. Yeah. Some guys were actually really good. Other guys were not.
Yeah, really, really bad.
But there was clearly a storyline that these people had been following with this particular group. You know,
they get into it.
Yeah.
But it's part of the challenge because, like, you work those indies, and that's 98% of the shows that happen in pro wrestling are that show. Yeah. You know, maybe 1,000 people. You know, we'll say that 100 to 1,000 people that attend, but it's in a high school gym. It's in an Elks Lodge. God, I've seen so many Elks Lodges. That's what those. And so when you're working and trying to become a wrestler, you're learning how to make it look as real as possible in that setting, right? You know, and it's hard because you're right there. You can see it all. You can see when they punch and they slap their leg, you know, and it's just obvious as all get out. And So you learn to get good at that.
Yeah.
And then you get picked up. Oh my God, I got the call up. I'm going to WWE for a tryout. And so many guys who've worked the indies go to the tryouts, or they go to NXT, and they're just like, you're working too tight. Quit working the crowd. Like all these things you had to learn to make it on the indies kill you and will not get. A good buddy of mine, Alexander Hammerstone, he's worked at Major League Wrestling and a lot of other places. Dude is jacked. He's in great shape. An amazing look. He'll never get picked. He hasn't been picked up by WWE. Likely won't in a long-term way ever. One, he looks too much like Triple H. He's got the blonde hair. He's got that jacked body. And that's the thing they look for in WWE. But he worked the indies, and he was really good working the indies, and it struggled to translate it to that TV product they look for. And it's, I don't know. Most guys that make it. Yep. It's a place to go. Although, yeah, I got thoughts. I won't go off because it's a great. I really love watching AEW. I enjoy it a lot.
You know what AEW feels like to me? It feels like Seth MacFarlane doing the Orville. Only somebody who watched wrestling growing up and has a crap ton of money.
So that's kind of what it. So this is the thing. When I was growing up in wrestling, as I grew up in the Portland area, right, doing that's where I broke into the business and whatnot. And there were a handful of companies that tried to run a pretty legit business. And then there's this one that was the one every wrestler wanted to work at. I won't name them. There's good people that were behind it, but they didn't care about entertaining the crowd or whatever. They cared about doing their, like, oh, I'm going to do this cool thing. We call it entertaining the boys, right? What they put out there.
We have those guys in comedy.
Really?
Comedians who are there to entertain their fellow comics hanging out in the back, and they care nothing for the crowd that's actually in front of them that paid tickets to get there. They're really playing to that little group in the back that's the other comics.
Yep. That was this group. Everybody loved working there. They got to do all the stuff that other promoters would tell them not to do because it's not good, but it's fun, or whatever. And so, and then that company died quickly, and then they popped up with another name. And then finally Tony Khan gets involved, and it's called AEW now,
right? Where
like a whole bunch of that product is, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Yeah, it would be cool. It's not going to make any sense, and it's not good for the crowd. But for those of us who get the business, it's awesome. But it's cool. You get guys like Danhausen in there and other people that Darby Allin there. He's from I've worked shows with that guy here in Portland and in Salem. It's where he came from. It's awesome to see these people doing cool things there that they wouldn't get a chance to do in a WWE. I don't know. We've been talking a lot of pro wrestling.
It is good for the business to have more than one outlet. So says the NFL, the Major League Baseball people, the NHL, and the NBA. It's good to have more than one outlet for your professional league.
Yeah. It really is. All the best times in pro wrestling was at least 2, if not more, companies who were literally everywhere. Like that's when everybody got better.
Hey, Club 65. You guys got here because you stuck around. Long time ago, we just said, hey, if you're still here, drop a 65 in the comments. That's where the name comes from. I'm just curious because this is maybe the longest Club 65 we've ever done.
I think it might be. It's been a long time.
And we have rambled so much. I'm curious who's still out there. This is not going to be a new club. But give me a hell yeah. There you go. Drop a hell yeah down in the comments if you're still here. I want to know. But with that, Jeff, we're going to get out of here for tonight. Hey, we'll see you guys back next week for, what's that episode? Strange Relations.
Strange Relations.
All right. Bye, guys.